Today I got a bunch of dash cams with me. I got all the 70mm dash cams on the market currently. Which one should you choose? I know it's a lot of dash cams. I'll make this very simple and practical. So let's take this dash cam for a test drive. This is the 360 Omni. You can see we have it mounted there on the dash. There's the picture. Very clear. It's got HDR, high dynamic resolution, and the picture is great. Now all of these 70mm cameras, no matter which one you get, are using the Sony Starvis 2 sensor on the front-facing cam. And the T800 flagship uses the Sony Starvis 2 sensor in 4K on the rear. The rest of the 70mm models have 1080p in the rear, and that's just standard stuff. Now, which one should you get is entirely up to you. Insofar as the features, the differences are honestly very, very marginal. The flagship, of course, has 4K front and rear. The middle grades don't, and the Omni has the whole factor of the camera being able to spin around in 360 degrees. Now, the big question is this whole 360 degree camera thing a gimmick, or does it actually have any value? And only the buyer knows the answer to that. You're seeing what it does. It moves 360 degrees around, so you can spin it anywhere, say in the case of a traffic stop encounter. Other than that, I can't think of any other practical reason you'd want to spin the camera around to these angles that aren't traditionally used with dash cam setups. Picture quality and reliability are going to be the most important concern for the buyer. We've had 70mm cameras ever since they started shipping them to this channel for review, and we haven't had any problems. In other words, they're all working and they all last. So reliability for what you're paying for it, in my opinion, is a fair value. We haven't gotten one to break on us yet, or not work, and as you can see, we live in the Mojave Desert, so these things sit in our car and absolutely bake in the sun all day, and we keep the windows up. So these things are basically baking in an oven out here in the desert, and they still somehow manage to work. Now this is the flagship T800 by 70mm. This is their best camera because it has that 4K rear-facing camera. So both front and rear, again, are 4K, and as you can see here, the image looks great using that Sony Starvis 2 sensor. Every camera besides the Omni comes with a internal or cabin inside-facing camera that's also 1080p. The Omni does not come with that, but you can spin the camera around manually to record the inside, but it does not come with its own internal camera separately. So that's something to consider if you're thinking about the Omni. When it comes to special features about these cameras, there's really two camps, if we're being honest. One camp just wants the camera to record and they're happy with that. That's the camp I belong to. I just want the thing to record its cameras and that's it, and be reliable. Then there's another camp that wants all the bells and whistles and the so-called gimmicky features, the parking sensors, the vehicle collision monitors, the 360 degree sensing with the Hall effect sensors and all this stuff when you park, so it can look for people around your car and alert you. I'm not in that camp, and I'm sure all those features that I mentioned work just fine for what they are. I just don't get into depth testing them because it's not what I'm interested in. However, looking online at anecdotes of people who do value those features, in other words, all the parking stuff and all the sensor stuff, people have reported that that stuff works just fine. When you consider that the Omni 360 camera is the only camera that has sensors when you're parked that can scan 360 degrees around your car and then point the camera at whatever it finds suspicious. When you consider that, there's really no competition. So if that's your thing, the Omni is where it's at. You can't find anything else that will do that, at least in this price range. All in all, I think there's minor differences between all these cams, except of course the 360 cam, which you're either going to love or hate. You can't go wrong with any of them. It's just a matter of picking what you want and what works in your budget.